It's going live. Sorry. Is there what you to say anything? Welcome, welcome, welcome.
All right.
Hi.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, Tamara.
Nicole, how are you?
I'm good. And today it's just me and you.
I know. And I'm sad that we don't have a guest, but I really enjoy chatting with you about all things fractional and marketing. So I think this is delightful.
Absolutely. Well, with that being said, we are What the Frac. We are your fractional executives for all things marketing, business ops, marketing ops, trends, anything to do with marketing and building your business. I am Nicole.
And I'm Tamara.
And today we're just going to be talking a little bit about, you've heard our tactics, you've heard, our opinions. You've heard a lot of things on What the Frac over the last 9 episodes. Today we dropped to the 9th episode, 3 lives. And I bet you're wondering who we are and why do we have the authority to be your fractional team. And so today we're here to meet the hosts.
Yeah. Why do we have such strong opinions on things like funnels and feedback loops? And I guess it's from the wonderful experience that we have gathered throughout our careers. So, Nicole, why don't you introduce yourself to everybody? What brings you to our What the Frac table here?
Yeah, absolutely. So, for anyone who doesn't know, my name's Nicole Zeno. I have a background in all things arts, business, and marketing. So, grew up in a very entrepreneurial family. Learned web design and software really early on. Learned how to build a business. I mean, for me, building businesses and strategy and operations like comes second nature, like brushing my teeth. It's just something that was like ingrained very early on. I went to school and have a degree, a Bachelor of Fine Arts degree, in all things video and storytelling. And then when I moved to LA to work in music, so I worked in music videos, directing and producing. I did photojournalism in music. And when I moved to LA, I started to realize there were all these challenges in the world that could be solved with all of my experience. And so me and my brother built a company, and then we built another one, and then we built another one. Some we exited, some failed miserably. You know, that's how it works. And it's just how it works, right? Yeah, and through all of that experience, we started to help businesses with marketing and software and strategy, and realized that I come from it from a very unique perspective. I was a founder. I am a founder, right? And so I know how to speak to founders, and got into the startup world, and just it basically has all culminated in what now is the trend of fractional. And fractional is such a great piece that I'm sure we'll go into here in a second. But that, I feel like, has all of my experience has kind of come together in this trend that is fractional now. So, Tamara, what about you? I know you come from a very interesting background as well.
Yes. And I actually, while you were saying that, I was thinking at some point, if we have another just one-on-one with us, you just need to take people behind the scenes in your like ClickUp world and show people how you organize, because it is phenomenal. At some point, we're going to do that. We're going to do a behind the scenes of how we organize and how we do our thought process. But yeah, I have definitely just a different path. So you started as a founder yourself. I started in communication. So I started working in news and media. And I love talking with people, and I love really, really phenomenal stories. And that brought me to really understanding how a good story and how an impactful story with a fantastic mission really drives towards success. So I spent at least 15 years of my career working in journalism, working in investigative reporting, and then transitioned that into looking at impact investing and reporting on how companies were utilizing their mission to make better profits for them, better profits for the world, better profits for the economy and society. And then I wanted to kick out and actually work with founders myself. So I started doing that. I started working on strategic communication, working on marketing, working with like really like solopreneurs or small teams, and just found that small businesses are where the economy thrives. And I think that's something that you and I are really passionate about, Nicole. So that is where I've just turned all of my focus and looking at how, I think I've worked with huge budgets and I've worked with small budgets, and I get really excited finding the creative solutions to small budgets and big impact. So that's my quick get to know me story and what gets me excited.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that, it's interesting. We both have very different backgrounds. For a stint, I worked in Fortune 100. I worked with small businesses. You've worked with all size businesses, startups, on the money side and whatnot. But the one thing that kind of is a major thread throughout both of our careers, and I think also makes a really amazing marketer and business owner, is storytelling. Right? Like that's the thing that drew me to video. That's the thing that drew me to communities and podcasts and all of this pieces. Even if you're looking at a web page, I always throw my team off my web. Like anyone who's like a new web designer on my team always gets thrown off because I'll ask them like, okay, this landing page, what's the storyline we're telling? And they're always like, wait, what? It's a landing page, but it's true, right? Everything is a story. And I think that both of our backgrounds has a lot of that storytelling piece to it.
Yeah. And you think about user journeys, right? That's a story. It's called a journey, and a journey has highs and lows, and places that become sticky and you get people, and places that you lose people, right? So that I think correlates well to what we're talking about. Good storytellers equals good marketing.
Well, and also I think marketing is an emotional response, just like anything else, right? It's finding that emotional response with your customers. Same thing with business owners, right? That's why business owners who can tell their story are so good, is because they generally elicit an emotional response with whoever their core buyer is. And that's what storytelling, like good storytelling does, right? Like I was a director for a long time and I loved indie films. And that's what like a good indie film has. It may not have money, but it has really good emotional, response, right? And so when you're thinking about things like podcasts, like looking at marketing campaigns, like why do these work? Most times it has to do with emotions and storytelling, and then the execution's good, or the funnel, or the, technology, right? But anyway, with that being said, we are with the Frac. So most people aren't sure what fractional. I got asked if it's a Battlestar Galactica reference, which I guess it could be.
Clever.
Yes, because in Battlestar Galactica they can't curse, so they say frac. I've gotten asked if it's about a bunch of things, but me and you met randomly. We've actually never met in person.
I know. How weird is that?
It's super weird. We
the
met
post-COVID world is all you can become such fast friends and partners in a virtual setting.
I know. I feel like I've known you forever, and I feel like in like a heartbeat I'd be like, yeah, I'll babysit for you. You know what I mean? Like I know your kids, why not, right? But we met randomly and we started talking about fractional, and that's where we really first started to connect. So for anyone out there, Tamara, do you want to explain what fractional is?
Sure. And I think of fractional in a really interesting way as well. So fractional one is it is at its essence is someone who's an expert and a specialist who works with multiple companies at one time on obviously a fractional level, right? And the reason why that's so interesting and compelling to most small businesses is because, or actually, I'm going to say small to medium-sized businesses and even larger businesses now, is that especially when it comes to these specialties in marketing or in organization or in finance, you don't necessarily need a full-time person. You need someone who can come in, set strategies, set KPIs, track them, measure them, come back and check in and make sure that everything's on track. And then you have people that execute them. And so if you're really utilizing your time and money wisely, as a business owner, then you're going to look and you're going to say, how can I utilize this person to the max for the least amount of time possible? Right. And it's a win-win for everyone because you're able to get that person's expertise, and then you have someone else execute on their expertise, and you maximize your impact and you minimize your cost. Right? So if
Yeah.
you're looking at it practically, it's a really smart thing that is happening now. And now there's obviously tons of probably cons to it too. So depending on your business, depending on the setup, depending on some of the culture that you want to set up with your team, there's all different things to take into account on whether or not it works for your organization. But that's really in its essence what fractional is.
Yeah, and the thing that I think that was a great explanation, and the thing that really drew me to fractional is I had an agency, a marketing agency, and what I've always wanted to do, and what I noticed in the marketing world is that agencies tend to leave the like small businesses, medium-sized businesses, and even some larger medium-sized businesses behind because it gets very expensive very fast. And there's not a lot of resources out there. And that was always my passion. My parents were small business owners. We worked with small business owners. Like I love the founder and the startup and the that whole realm, right? And what was really interesting and drew me to fractional is the idea that in not just marketing, but in most of the spaces, you have different levels of those people. So for marketers, you have executional marketers, you have specialists, and you have strategists, right? And what most people, there was like a kind of a trend where we wanted one person, generally the executionalist, because they generally were the cheapest of marketers, to be able to do all of it. And I saw, especially in small businesses, startups, and medium-sized businesses, that there, and even some in corporate, that there was a trend towards burnout, towards bad culture in a lot of these places. And then there were just small businesses and startups who weren't getting to the spot they needed to, but they were doing a ton of marketing and spending a lot of money on it. And because they didn't have that big CMO level strategist, right? But they couldn't afford one. And so where this really kind of works in is that you can essentially have a fractional come in for a fractional piece of the cost, right? Because a CMO level person costs, anywhere from like 170 to 250 and probably even above a year. And they're not doing all of the marketing campaigns. They're really focusing on the data and the strategy and all those pieces. And so you can't afford that, but you have a kid who's maybe out of school 3 years, who doesn't have the experience to do the strategy piece of it, trying to do execution, and you're expecting them to do strategy, right? So we're able to come in, do that strategy for a fractional of the price, and then help guide the team so that you can keep your costs down and still get a lot of that marketing energy. And I've seen this in, financial CFO, CEOs. I've seen this in ops, business ops, all of those pieces.
I will say, and maybe my controversial take is, it feels like you couldn't do it in a CEO role well, but I have seen it, but it does feel counterintuitive to have that. But you know what? Give me your thoughts on it. I'd love to hear other people's thoughts. Like I said, that's my hot take. But Nicole, I also think it's important, we set up this show to really be informative, and it is for fractional professionals as well as small business owners, because the information, so many small business owners find themselves in a fractional place, right? They are their marketing department.
Mm-hmm.
They are their finance department. They are. So, the insights that we are looking at are really for just to strengthen your skills, your strategy, your thought process. And I think we really do take a strategy approach versus a tactical approach more often. But we set up what the Frac and what we are putting out into our YouTube show and LinkedIn, really to give you that strategy. And then from that strategy, how people are utilizing it, and then some tactics to utilize to hit those strategies. And so we break it up into case studies, which I love, and then troubleshooting. So it's a really fun combination where we look at what someone did and we break it down, we analyze it, we see the tactics, we see the takeaways, what worked, what didn't work in our humble opinion, and present that as a case study. And then we dive deeper. We say, okay, what was the one thing that we did? Let's troubleshoot that. So let's give you the tactics, the tools, the thought process as to how this, you can reach that outcome too. And we,
Mhm.
I would say 90% of the time take the small business approach. So the kind of a leaner approach of how, okay, Slack did this. How do you do it?
Yeah. No, I think Tamara, I mean, when we were talking about the show, one of the things that I really wanted in the show, and you agreed with, right, is that, working with clients, working small business owners, one of the things, even if they don't want to become the marketer themselves, they were getting kind of the wool pulled over their eyes because there's so much education around how do you work with a marketing team? How do you run a marketing team, right? And what's a lot of small business owners was happening is that they become the person running the marketing team without knowing how to market, right? Or even how to think through this. So if you take anything away, of course, we want to give you actionable steps. Of course, we want to show you that it's possible to do. But the main thing that I love about our case studies and our troubleshooting is it really teaches people how to go in and think like someone who's in that strategy executive mode, right? Like, what are the things we think about? What are the questions we ask? And it gives you a starting point to, at least, even if you're going to work with an agency, even if you're going to hire an internal team, it gives you a starting point to be able to have those conversations and feel like you're not like hands off and getting taken advantage of. And what generally happens then is we hear, oh, marketing isn't for us, or I saw in a company that I worked for, in between a few companies that I started working for a company, and they were a company of consultants who had one creative team. And what I saw is that the people on the creative team were always being treated like consultants. And so they were always underperforming in the sense of the data. They were always in a really bad place or stress, and they were churning, and they were not getting the results they wanted. And it's because the executives did not know any better. They never ran a creative team. They've never run a marketing department. And so it's just the idea of you being able to be more equipped. You have more tools in your tool bag to go out and be as successful as possible, even if you're not going to be running the actual campaigns.
100%. So, one of the things I wanted to jump on this live for was not only to introduce ourselves, but to open up this platform and say, hey, we are here for you. What do you want to hear? So we've done case studies on Barbie, on Slack, on we're about to do the Capital One Cafe. I'm starting to lose track of the stuff that we've done, Nicole. What am I missing on the case study side?
Oh, we done the Starbucks holiday cups.
That was a fun one.
AG1.
And then on troubleshooting, we've done go to market, we've done brand building, we've done ads, which I believe is going to be coming out. So we are really building out some information that's just super helpful. But what do you want to hear? Like this is not just a one-way street. This is a community, and we know that we're all racing to catch up in marketing, right? Algorithms change. Feels like everything's always changing. So we want to make sure that we're covering all the topics that we can. So put your thoughts in the chat, or email us, or connect with us on LinkedIn or Instagram. And, we definitely will start building out things that we hear from our community that you want.
Yeah. And also, we started these lives as a third part too. We have the case studies, the troubleshooting, which I absolutely love. They're more produced. They have a lot more information in them. But these lives, we started to really show you that there's real people out there, real marketers, real experts who are doing the thing and can give, a little bit, who want to give a little bit back to the community. So if you know any marketers out there, any experts who we need to have on these lives, please let us know. We are booking as we speak for more and more lives.
Yep. Tag them in the comments.
Yeah.
So with that, we are What the Frac. We are excited to be here with you to be talking about all things marketing tactics, strategies funnels, feedback loops, and more.
Tamara loves her feedback loops, so send some feedback.
And don't forget to like or follow our page, follow us on YouTube, and again, join the email list and chat with us on LinkedIn. We love it.
Absolutely. Well, thanks, guys. And next, just letting you know, we just dropped the podcast revenue streams episode on YouTube. You can get all the newest episodes there. And next week, we'll be back here on Thursday at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time with your friend Tamara. I'm sorry, I forgot her name. What's her name?
Knight. She's a PR expert.
Yes, PR expert. The week after, we'll be here with Katie. You can check all of that out on our LinkedIn page.
Awesome.
Happy marketing.
Bye.